wondering, as somebody who speaks Swahili, who's this? And what Swahili is this? But these days with subtitles, it's fascinating. You can follow stories in different languages. Now, for our jurisdiction where you operate, how big is this and what is the potential in telling our stories in our very own language?
First of all, Swahili is the root of our identity. And Swahili promotes our culture. And in Africa, we have around 200 million and above Swahili speakers. And for me, if as a producer, that is my market. If I do more content on Swahili, if I do more Swahili content, I know we can increase this market from 200 million even to 500 million. Because the problem right now we are having is the way my fellow producer has said, we have to think global but act local. How are we going to act local if we are not doing our own local stories with our own languages? Because there's a time I traveled to South Africa, and these people from South Africa know us as East African community, and they will ask me, how is Swahili? Can you teach me how to speak Swahili? So you see, we have a very big market in Africa and generally global if we can keep producing a lot of Swahili content. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So we keep at it, keep chanting those stories in those festivals, the Canes. Let us take our Swahili movies there, globalize it, so that the next Wakanda, if they say it's positioned in Africa, at least we get an ounce of Africanness in regards to language in that regard, yeah? And that's not a shade to that particular movie. But it was interesting to hear, you know? Even their English was quite interesting. By the way, do you think if you're telling Africa's stories, or even if you're adapting African stories, should we go for ability in regards to executing the role? Or should we prioritize local actors, for example? Because also the issue of marketing comes in. There are just more popular actors that can sell your product that we are seeing with the Wakanda situation. They're more popular, they can sell. How do you balance that briefly, Daudi?
For me, first of all, if I have a good story, like the recent movie which I shot, for me, that was one of my biggest movie right now. And I was asking myself the same question you're asking. Should I use seasoned actors or just any actor who can perform this role? And where I'm coming from, we have a lot of talent. And for me, it was a sacrifice. I just said, okay, as long as I can get anyone with talent who can push my story to the next boundary, that's the person I'm going with. Because I know sometimes we think the marketing side of it, with seasoned actors, with people who have numbers in the industry. But again, for us to get more numbers, we need to work with the talent which we know. People will start believing in them, and our audiences. You know, if an audience sees something good, I'm telling you, they never forget. They'll just ask you, hey, there's an actor. What is the name of that actor? So for me, in my movie Mvera, my lead character has never never done any big feature film. It's just a lady, an upcoming artist from Mombasa. But the way he understood my story, she understood my story,
yes,
that's what drives me to make her one of the lead characters in my stories.
All right. And people need that chance to start off, yeah, which is very, very important. Finishing up, Miss Hayan, I know the future is bright, as you've said. When we look at population projections in Africa, in China, these are huge markets for independent filmmakers especially, and filmmakers in general. Currently and in the future, how do you see this cross-collaboration in terms of stories and in terms of selling? Where is it going? What potential does it hold? And lastly, how can independent filmmakers take advantage of that, this global collaboration.
嗯，确实，就像我刚刚一开始有介绍的，中国已经有非常成熟的电影和电视剧的市场了。那么现在我们如何融入非洲的元素？就像我们这次来肯尼亚，也是从我们的过往来说，中国和非洲的传统友谊也非常的深厚。那在这样的一种情况下，中国其实对非洲的了解和认知还没有那么的熟悉。我们来了之后觉得特别美好。那这也是我们这2次，第2次来到肯尼亚之后，我们觉得在这里我们寻找到在城市生活当中，现在已经很难有的那种心灵的治愈。我觉得这是人类共同的情感，也是我们商业电影或者电视剧当中非常重要的元素之一。
As she said,
It's okay.
as she said before, in China, the people they don't understand a lot of things about Africa, but the friendship between China and Africa is quite strong, and it will be stronger. For us investing in the film market and cinematography, we need to use African culture in the Chinese film market. And that is why they are here now, because before they didn't come to Africa, they didn't know a lot of things about Africa, but since they came, they find this place quite peacefully. And humanity is searching for peace and the peace of our heart. That is why what we find in Africa, in Kenya, why not put them in the film, in the storytelling? Because we need to use the African culture, our friendship between China and Africa, to let people know in China that we are peacefully here, we have everything we need, the temperature is nice, everything nice about Africa is going to sell in China, because the Chinese people, they want to know more about us, because the friendship between China and Africa is strong. And this, anyone can do it. Anyone can tell this kind of story. You just need to come to Africa and see how things work and how people are here. And for indie cinema, indie films, people, it is quite easy for us to tell this kind of story, and it will sell in China.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to open up the floor for questions. So we already have 2 at the back, the 3rd one there. And let me see, and the 4th one here, and the 5th one, and I can't count one. Yeah. So I don't know whether somebody will help with the microphone. I can come to the ground. We've started with that gentleman. All right.
Okay. My question goes to Daudi Anguka. You talked about festivals for indie filmmakers to explore. My question will be, which other avenues should indies filmmakers explore to make returns on investment? Maybe you've taken a leap of faith and you've done a feature film. You have your feature film. You've gone to festivals. Maybe festivals. You finish festival runs, but you need some return on investment on your production. Which other market should indie filmmakers explore? My name is Lodeki.
Thank you very much. Can you pick 2 more? Apologies for this. They were part of the first ones, but we've started with the edges. Apologies, all right? Please proceed.
Hello. I'm asking about, we have so many stories, so many unique stories out there, but the people that we have, maybe they are young people in the hood, they know nothing about filmmaking. All they know is that they can act and they have amazing stories. And as Sam mentioned, we don't have maybe frameworks or info that we have on the industry. So how can you advise such a person who has a story, maybe has excellent actors, but does not know where to start?
Your name?
Fanaka.
Fanaka. All right. Let's pick 2 more there, then we respond to that first round of questions.
Hi, my name is Sheba Hurst from the Nairobi Film Festival. I'm so glad you bigged up film festivals, which we'll be doing again this year in October after a hiatus. I know you said not to introduce ourselves and say our long story, but you know, we are who we are. We're the people we are.
Yeah.
I really wanted, as a time when the whole globe is really considering and reconsidering what the role is of the film festival, what the future role is of the film festival and of cinematic exhibition, I'm really interested to know what you as independent filmmakers want from your film festival experience. What has been the most useful thing, and what is it that you would wish to have happen in the future film festival?
All right. Thank you very much. If you ask a question, next we'll just request you be on your feet. Thank you very much. We are who we are. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Mwara Kongo. I'm a lecturer in film and animation at Multimedia University, and I have a cartoon studio there, Mudumwara Studios. And I'd like to congratulate us all for being here. There's the huge attraction of the Safari Rally going on. There's over 150 of us in here. So this is a big deal. My question is for Haiyan G. Yes. This is my project, this one, the Almasi project. It's a children's animated series, and I'm making it with my animation students at Multimedia University. And it has never occurred to me to look at the Chinese market. So I'd like to talk to you afterwards about that. That's possible. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much. So already, our animation project is already in China, all right? Just confess that by faith. Responses, I know they were quite targeted. Who's going to go first? Who's going to go first?
Okay, let me go the other way. I think film festivals are so important for any filmmaker in many ways, because it's an opportunity for you to not only exhibit your work, but to get an impression of what your work means to the audiences that you're making it for. I think for me in particular, the presence of a festival is key in the first place. Just the festival happening. It's such a big deal, because if it doesn't happen, the question from the lady at the back is, where do we take our work? So just from this conversation alone, I'll be like, if you have a segment that will allow the filmmaker in the hood who has a story and is asking, where do we take these stories? Right there. Just the possibility of there being, I know there's a difference of quality and in terms of the content that's being made. I think the work that we have in the space that we have is to try and bridge that gap. So how do we bridge that gap? We have to first extend a sense of empathy and understanding for the films that are being made, but also connect these people who are making these films in, using whatever little thing they're trying to do to make that film with someone else who has walked the path like Daudi, and being like, okay, this is how you can bridge this gap and be consistent at it. Like, we can't do Kalasha this year and not do a Kalasha next year. We kind of have to be like, bite the bullet and keep it going consistently, because if that gap is not bridged, we will struggle with the disconnect. With the question of where do we take our stories, or if we have amazing stories, I think, yes, there's a gap in terms of the education, because there's a way you have to present that story. Because if you stop me on the way and you're like, oh, I have this idea and I want to work on that idea, I'll tell you the truth, I won't take you seriously. But if you actually take the effort to try and write it down, do your own research. Someone spoke about research. Do your own research of like, how can I represent this idea? I need to write a log line. I need to write a synopsis. I need to develop a script, a treatment. I need to do all these things. That's the place to start. Because if you start there and you meet Daudi here and you're like, hey, here is my script, or he's just said, it's like he likes reading scripts and he's looking for good stories. So present the good stories. However, in presenting in these stories, at the back of your mind, in many ways, you also need to protect yourself in these stories. So, think about things like copyright, and I'm sure there's like stuff like that in the program. to tackle that. But it's about constantly chugging at it and even doing the research in yourself and like what is the best way I can present what I believe is a good story. And you just stopping someone is not that way.
All right.
Lastly, where do we make money when we need a return on investment? We need to be creative, and yes, you can take it to a broadcaster, or you can take it to a streamer, or you can take it to an aggregator, you can take it to different people who would want to buy this stuff. But the reality is there's so many people who are trying to sell whatever they're making. So also you are trying to, what do you call it, move in the eye of a needle?
Yeah.
So not all of us will be able to sell what we are making. So we need to be creative in how we can get our returns back. For instance, organize screenings in your own places and in the different places you have avenues in. Get your 100, 200 people to come and pay 100, 200 bob and do a lot of that. I think, is it Philly TV that have done that pretty well? I think it's being creative. I think for the longest time, we've lived with the idea that there is a path and this is the path and it is the only path for us to go. And that's not true.
Sure.
We as Africans know that we have to be ingenious in how we engage and relate and figure out our way. So we need to believe that we can figure out that way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the way that we have told is the way.
Yes, exactly. There was a question addressed to you, Daudi?
Yeah. I think one of the market for an indie filmmaker, first of all, is self-distribution. What do I mean with self-distribution? There are so many platforms. Example, YouTube. We have Vimeo. We have Movie. These are platforms you as a filmmaker, if you have your content, start if you can just start from somewhere, then share your project to different filmmakers. And I know you will find 1 to 2, 3 filmmakers who will be ready to help you to build your production to the next step. So for me, I think right now I've seen so many indie filmmakers opening their YouTube channels, doing their project, marketing their project. I've just seen someone making a billboard for his new project which is coming on YouTube. So now we should start thinking about self-distribution. Then the next step, distributors will come after you.
Exactly. Yeah. Self-distribution. I want to pick the next round. Mr. Owase here, Kenya Film Commission CEO. Can we get the microphone to him? Who else? I saw there's a hand there. There's a hand at the end too, sir.
Thank you. I'm Timothy Owase, and I empower filmmakers. My question is not directed to anyone specific, but I wanted to know what is the place of a business plan for an independent filmmaker? And do you ever have an end in mind at any given time you are coming up with your story? Thank you.
Okay. An end in mind, as we have the next question there. Advantage by proximity.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Amazing discussion. Speaking. My name is Wageshi Murage. I'm a distributor, and I work very closely with indie filmmakers. And I'm happy to hear that we've been talking a lot about money and financing, and I had a lot of pre-financing with regards to barter agreements, cutting costs here and there. And so I'm curious, although it's somewhat been answered by Sam, as to how then you can be able to monetize on your content post, rather than just looking for because we are talking about self-sustainable business, meaning you can shares or your buddies, to help you with financing your project. You want it to be self-sustainable. So I was also very curious, as the gentleman asked, with regards to the approach you use when it comes to that. However, since it's been partially answered, I just have a question for the filmmakers, maybe all the panelists or 1 or 2. I'm curious as to what it is that you're looking for when deciding to produce and also release your film or distribute your film to different audiences. What is the main objective that you're looking at in order of priority? And it can be just one. Is it the audience reach that you look for? Is it revenue generation in terms of monetization, or is it the impact? I'm very curious. Sorry, I'm conducting a poll in your
No,
in your
okay.
discussion, but I'm
That's
very
fine.
curious as to what it is that makes them want to make these films. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you very much. We have a lady right there. Thank you very much. This mic is self-sustainable. It's just moving without the mover. All right.
Hi, hello. So my question or my comment is more about just kind of it's an imbalance. Let me just say, look at what is a business case, right? So we asked, the woman from China, how do filmmakers go about this? And we said, make a business case. In China, the average income, their monthly income is about $2,000 US. In Kenya, it's about 600. In China, in 2007, they had 3,500 cinemas, screens alone. As of today, it's over 86,000. If you look at it in Kenya, we only have 14 screens. So it's very imbalanced. And the cost of a movie ticket in China is almost less than the cost of a movie ticket here, when we especially look at Nairobi. So how can you make a business case as a filmmaker to anyone to say that this is an investment? You don't have an audience. And then we're always looking outside. We're saying, like Mr. Soko said, grow your audience in Africa and in the diaspora. But what about in Kenya? You need to first grow it locally. If you look at Nigeria, even in South Africa has over 800 screens. In Nigeria, we have, I think, like around 270. So you need to have a local industry and an audience that's watching it. Right now, we have so much content. Everyone talks about stories. We already have those stories. People have decks. People have stories made. They're just sitting on shelves. And when these major platforms like the Amazons and everything pull out, like we saw what happened in January, you need the local audience to sustain you. You can't depend on an outside market. And we already saw that happen with the tourism industry here. During COVID, all of our prices for tourism and safaris are aimed at an outside market. And the local Kenyans haven't even done Masai Mara, and then suddenly the prices had to come down so that the people here can sustain the industry. It's the same thing with film and some other industries. So that's kind of my comment and question.
That's a heavy one. The imbalance, even when you talk about scaling the international and opening up the continent locally, do we have capacity? Can I pick? There was a question there. There's a question right there. Let's finish with that. We have less than 6 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Finley Maranga from Film 4P Academy program. So first of all, coming from Mombasa myself, I'd like to congratulate Daudi Anguka a lot. The time that I lived there, it was kind of a challenge to connect with other filmmakers, and it makes me so happy to see that you as a filmmaker from there is doing really good. And now that I recently heard about Mombasa International Film Festival and all, so when I go back there, I'll go and try to connect with more filmmakers. So my question is, as a film student myself, I'm graduating at the end of the year, and my concern is when I graduate, what will be next? We'll be doing our final projects and all, so maybe I'd like if you can give me a kind of a tip on how to go forward from there after graduating, how to delve into the industry and ensure that I don't get it wrong. You can also pinpoint some of the things that fresh film graduates get wrong. Yeah, I think that would be good. I've heard people saying that a certain filmmaker gave me this point and it really helped me. So I'd like to say in future that Daudi gave me this point and it really helped me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Daudi, since we've finished with you, maybe briefly, we have less than 5 minutes to respond to that round of questions. We can start backwards, then please.
Okay, that's a nice one. As a student who is coming now to the ground, where things are not that tough, don't have that mindset. As long as this is what I'm saying, as long as you have an idea, and look for people with the right channels. For example, right now, after this, we can have a talk with you. You will tell me which departments you are engaging in. Are you a cinematographer? Are you a scriptwriter? so that I may connect with other scriptwriters or cinematographers who can help you after this. Because I know after finishing school, it's usually tough because you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, and you don't have a budget maybe to start any production. So the idea you are having, put it into action.
Okay.
And if you are a cinematographer, look for cameras, shoot, show them that this is what I can do as a cinematographer. This is what I've been learning for the last 3 or 2 years or 4 years. Okay. And I think with that, you can get the right people who can help you.
All right. Thank you very much. There was a comment right there, which is very interesting, that we're talking about, first of all, the whole imbalance, even when you talk about China. Your industry, yeah, you mentioned that we have the same challenges as indie filmmakers, but looking at the opportunities, the difference in numbers of our screens, the market at large, we are totally different. So even when we cross-collaborate, how do we, is there a business sense? I mean, this imbalance, our tickets are more expensive, a little bit more. How do you see this market as a place to invest?
我觉得首先是
Yeah, we can hear you. It's okay.
OK， 我觉得首先是对大家都表现出对中国的热情和兴趣。我觉得我们真的是非常开心。从中国的语言上来说，这是一种双向奔赴的情感，是一个非常美好的开始。
First of all, she's grateful that the African market and African people, they are warm about China, and the warmth between China and Africa is the same.
Okay.
然后第二点是，我觉得刚刚女士提的这个问题非常专业，我觉得也非常好，在这里能够提到，这是一个经过认真思考、深思熟虑的这样的一个问题，我也愿意从我的角度来试图做一些解答。
And her question is quite professional because all of the filmmakers, even in China, they are thinking about this kind of market, the imbalance between both parts. And now she's going to answer to that question.
首先，我觉得是中国和非洲的文化背景它是不一样的，在这里边我们可能要寻找到我们共通的人类的情感。然后其次，我想分享的是中国的电影和电视剧市场，尽管今天已经非常成熟了，但是曾经我们是从目前非洲的这个阶段我们走过来的，我们大概花了有20-30年的这样的一个时间。所以这个中间目前存在的这一些市场上面的不是非常平衡，是一件非常可以或者说是一件可以理解的事情。但是我相信有我们这么多独立的电影人，有我们这么专业的非洲的从业人员，这个时间应该会大大的缩短。
Then the history and the culture between China and Africa, it is different because we don't share the same story background, but the cinematography and film now in Africa is like 20 to 30 years ago of China. Today, Chinese market is professional, the film is professional, everything is professional there, but as Africans, we don't have to be disappointed because now China is interested on having a collaboration with Africa, and there is a future for Africa. There is future for African film and cinematography, because now we have to learn from China 20 years ago how they built that strong market and that professional filmography.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vanessa. That particular concern, I think it's interesting. Even you can bundle up some of what we consider as filmmakers, but that concern, it's a huge one. We're talking about looking at cross-border markets, but locally, when you examine these specific markets internally, they seem to be very weak. Can you focus on both or build your home first of all before now thinking about going across the border?
So there is importance in focusing at home, right? And that's why what the Kenyan Film Commission is doing with Kalasha is so vital. This already is a starting point to opening it up. I remember on the first day I listened to a panel, right? And the conversation came up, that particular conversation came up. And there were people from banks, people from all sorts of industries, like key players in different industries. And because of a festival like this, they are starting to think about building more cinemas, you know what I mean? So the conversation has started. It's just about how quickly it develops, right? And that lies with everyone. I feel like a lot of the time we try to say, the government needs to do this for us, or KFC needs to do this for us, or Vanessa needs to do this for us, right? But it's a collaborative thing. We can all sit together and think about how to grow the industry. So perhaps you can have the facilities to build a cinema, and I can have the facilities to market our cinemas, right? So it has already started. But also, there's so much importance in opening borders as well. Cross-pollination is how we grow as well. So don't limit yourself to just premiering your film in Kenya. Go to Nigeria, go to South Africa, go to Uganda, Broaden, open up the space for yourself, and the industry will open for you.
Definitely. And even as we do that assessment, there is the element of the way we measure activity within a particular market. For example, with the screens, that has been democratized in a different way. Now everyone is streaming in their homes. And that has steeped the market a little bit. So maybe even the metrics itself we really need to relook into. Being told our time is running out. There was a very wonderful question right here.
Yes.
You want to briefly touch on it, then
yes.
we hand it over to Mr. Soko?
Quickly. So the reason we as creatives come into this industry, right, is to tell our stories, and so that to tell human stories, so that people can resonate with us more and resonate. As a documentary filmmaker myself, I want my subject to, the audience have empathy for them, whether it's a good or a bad guy. I want them to understand the psychology behind him, right? However, passion and love for stories does not put food on the table, as we know. It's been a major concern. It's come up a number of times in this room. So yes, we also do it for the money, but what industry doesn't?
So in terms of the process in which we make films, we kind of have to think about everything from the beginning at the end. I think we've moved from the stage of just this is an amazing idea to the stage of can this idea actually work? So the space of something like a business plan, I think in every single project is important. You can't just make a film for the sake of making a film in this moment and in this time, because again, you want to make sure every person in the chain is actually paid well, not just paid. I think we've moved from the stage of just paying. We want people to be paid well, as in for them to plan, to get mortgages, to do all these things. And to do that, you have to think about the business from the beginning to the end. And to ensure that you do that, I think in the question of we are a struggling market, we have a few people. I think there's many things that have to happen at the same time. It's just filmmakers making films is not enough.
Yes.
Just there being investment is not enough. There is a lot of things that have to happen at the same time, and these things have to happen effectively and progressively. Because if they don't happen in that way, there will always be one thing that's dragging us back.
All right, definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a conversation that we've just begun here. But since each and every one of our panelists opened the door to them being talked to, yeah, they won't boutique you in real life. So just approach them, have a chat with them in regards to some of these things, and I think we shall have a good time. But that's where we put a full stop to our panel this morning. Help me appreciate Ms. Haiyan Ji, all the way from China, Mr. Daudi Anguka, thank you very much, Mr. Sam Soko, Vanessa Butelezi, and I've been your moderator, Noah Kipkemboi. That's it for now. Enjoy the rest of the viewing and also of the festival, all right? Thank you very much. You can greet your neighbor, tell them you are sleeping during the panel.
Thank you so much. Before you leave the stage, there's a group photo that will be taken, so please, before our panelists and moderator, a bit of feedback right there. Before you exit stage, please, let's take a photo. Fantastic stuff. I always urge these photo moments, please smile, you know, it would be good. Fantastic stuff. We are good? Fantastic stuff, thank you so much. Another round of applause for our moderator, Mr. Notip Kemgoe. Thank you so much. This way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Asante. Thank you so much. That brings us to our first health break. We shall take a 10-minute break. As he said, there's no blue ticking in real life. You can actually engage with them. After that, we reconvene to talk about understanding creative entrepreneurship. That happens in the next 10 minutes. So take a break, take a breather, connect with those you need to connect to, network back in 10 minutes as we talk about understanding creative entrepreneurship. Asante.
Want to elevate your entertainment? Then add Showmax to your DSTV subscription at no extra cost. Showmax is not a TV channel. It's an on-demand video streaming service on Showmax.com. To add Showmax to your DSTV subscription, simply use the My DSTV app. Select Add Showmax. The app screen will confirm that you qualify for Showmax at no extra cost as a DSTV premium subscriber. Now you can enjoy exclusive shows and movies. Add Showmax to elevate your entertainment.
Easter, enjoy your passport to non-stop laughter and entertainment on Star Times. The Salulu is to recharge and get upgraded.
Can we play a game?
We've got fun and play for the big and little kids. Action-packed sports. Absolutely unbelievable. Thrilling movies.
You're an actor. Act.
Passionate new telenovelas. Real-world documentaries.
Are you saying yes to the dress?
Unmissable reality and fantastic local shows. Recharge on your current bouquet and get upgraded to the next higher bouquet for 1 month. Burudika na familia. Download StarTimes on app for unlimited entertainment anytime, anywhere. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
This is the season where dreams come to life. Where glamour meets excitement. Discover new trends and opportunities in the explosive market sessions. Enjoy the most recent films at our movie screenings. Engage with your favorite industry stakeholders. Explore and experience the B2B sessions, exhibitions, conferences, and workshops. And of course, the most magical place, the Kalasha International Film and TV Awards Ceremony, where the industry's finest gather to celebrate excellence.
Lifetime Achievement Award goes to
the Kalasha International Film and TV Market Festival and Awards 2024 awaits you from the 27th to the 30th of March at the KICC Nairobi, Kenya, where art meets commerce. Buy your ticket at www.tikiti.co.ke. Be a part of this year's festival. Montaner no está cerca del mar.
Yo de aquí,
Mira,
tuve que pertenecer.
del norte.
Es una zona cerca de un día, pero
Want to elevate your entertainment? Then add Showmax to your DSTV subscription at a discount. Showmax is not a TV channel. It's an on-demand video streaming service on showmax.com. To add Showmax to your DSTV subscription, simply use the My DSTV app. Select Add Showmax. The app screen will display the discount you qualify for. Now you can enjoy exclusive shows and movies you won't find anywhere else. Add Showmax to elevate your entertainment.
A perfect family is not always what it seems.
Hapa hakuna mtu anaweza kunificha kitu.
When a father's past is revealed after his death, leaving his empire in the hands of his wife, son, daughter, and
I'm here to mourn my husband.
his other wife.
Ambazula. Usijaribu uniwezi mimi.
Who will get the castle?
You have rattled the snake.
The war of succession is on in the all-new Kasiri.
I think the reopening is here to showcase that Goethe is back, and Goethe is an open space for everybody to come, for everybody to engage with. It's a space where you can gather, where you can connect to people, find like-minded individuals who are also passionate about art and creation. And that's what we are about, and we are here to stay and to be an open space also in the next decades to come.
I'm happy to see that our own students here at the Institute are able to partake in this activity, and that even the Goethe Institute is trying to encourage the young youth to work hard and motivate them to join careers, that this is spearheading them to know what line they want to do in life. So for me, I enjoy that the Goethe Institute took time to let our students be part of this, and they've enjoyed, and some of them now even have interest to work in the German sector.
Hi, my name is Lily Kobler. I'm the director of the Goethe Institute, the German Cultural Center, and we're really having huge celebrations here today. We've been renovating and refurbishing and trying to create more accessible and welcoming spaces for our visitors, our partners, and the creatives of Kenya. So we're really, really happy that we're done with this and we're able to open our spaces again. So I'm most of all excited. It's like a dream come true, because you see building and construction and you can't really imagine what it will be like when it's alive. But now it's alive.
I'm really delighted and honored to be here tonight
for the reopening of Goethe Institute after almost 2 years of renovation and refurbishment. It's more than a facelift, it's a whole makeover to last for the next 60 years.
My name is Josephine Ochieng. I work here at Goethe Institute under the school sector. I am the project assistant for PASH project and Bildung Kooperation Deutschland, that is BKD. So in this reopening, we were able to invite schools from Nairobi, and also we had Naivasha girls coming in, and we had a lot of activities for the students. Like they also took part in different activities and they were able to win various prizes.
The global project is in 6 different countries, 3 in the Middle East and 3 in Africa. Here in Kenya, we focus on capacity building programs and also giving the platforms for creatives and artists to showcase their artworks. The objective of the project is to increase income and employment possibilities for creatives and artists.
My name is Keith Kubanga from Starehe Boys Center. I'm in Form 4 and I'm 17 years old. So my experience in Goethe Institute has been quite eventful. We were able to do various activities such as spin the wheel, where we get to answer questions relating to Germany. My favorite one was the scavenger hunt. We were able to do a scavenger hunt using an app called Kalasha, where we will go around the city looking for checkpoints as we get to know more about Kenyan history and more about the city itself.
I've just come from conducting a really fun DJ workshop with young ladies from Alliance Girls, and I feel like they've really inspired me. They've thrown me back, first of all, to when I was younger and in high school. I wish I knew that there was options for careers like these when I was in high school a few years back. And I feel like the impact of this workshop is not only exposing them to other career paths, but also empowering them to know exactly what it entails to be a DJ, not just the playing the music and having fun, but setting up your gear, you know, troubleshooting, you know, sound, if there's something wrong with your wiring, just empowering girls and young ladies to know that they don't have to wait for somebody to check their technical gear for them, they can do it themselves.
I mostly create content for children, so illustrated books, 2D animations, games. Apart from that, I've been a lecturer at ADMI for the past 3 years. I've been teaching illustration in animation, so everything that goes on before the actual animation production, including character design, that's what I do. So back in 2021, I partnered with Black Rhino and Goethe Institute, and I was given training in VR. So I was part of the state-of-the-art 2.0 Usoni. I was one of the 5 artists, and I created different cartoony-looking scenes that represent the style that I'm after. So for the past 2 days this weekend, I was lecturing and giving a workshop to everyone about virtual reality.
The Cultural Programs Department is here as a space to support creatives. We welcome all kinds of creatives, especially young and mid-career creatives, to explore new practices, new approaches to art making, to engage with different art forms. We support specifically some larger projects in key areas. For example, the Dance Life Fest that's coming up this year again, focused on contemporary dance. We have an exhibition series that supports artists in making ambitious conceptual artworks and exhibiting them here at Goethe Institute. And also, you know, we obviously build international connections, especially to Germany, to find international partners for connecting the Kenyan art scene to the world.
Supporting creatives, man, like from the very first day I walked into the Goethe Institute, actually, this Goethe Institute, I've always got a yes. Even if it was a no, but it waited and waited and then it turned into a yes. So I just want to appreciate them for supporting the art, supporting the artists.
We'll make the
city. How you doing?
History yangu na Gote Joy na go way back. Kabado naishi Kibich, way back yani. I think my first international flight ilikuwa Berlin. Through an exchange program ilikuwa inaitwa Spoken Worlds. Nili make friendships zenye na work nazo mpaka saa hii through Gote. From Waseka Viva Konagwa, producer wangu anatoka Berlin, amehostiwa hapa before, na tunawak naye mpaka saa hii. So Gote was like an eye opener for that international market, not only as a performer but as a sound. Kuna niomba na anything ikihappen hapa lazima ni pull up, because na feeling kama narudi home.
We hope that these spaces will be an inspiration to artists, to students. We have expanded our terrace. Actually, the terrace was not in existence at all. So we're glad that that has been put in place and our spaces are a bit larger, and we hope that these spaces offer inspiration where artists can come here, bounce their ideas around each other so they can learn and grow.
My name is Grace Murama. I am an award-winning certified special effects makeup artist and the founder of Grisel Studio. Initially founded in 2015, I discovered my passion for film early. Grisel Studio provides special effects makeup services, also known as SFX, for film and TV, one-on-one classes for fellow artists, as well as providing high-standard professional materials used in the makeup effects industry. These include silicone, sculpting materials, makeup prosthetic pieces, cosplay, student educational kits, and so much more. My goal throughout the years has been to develop and produce the highest quality FX makeup services and products to ensure that every artist can fully express their creativity. Discover the world of Grisel Studio and experience the transformative power of exceptional makeup.
This is the season where dreams come to life, where glamour meets excitement. Discover new trends and opportunities in the explosive market sessions. Enjoy the most recent films at our movie screenings. Engage with your favorite industry stakeholders. Explore and experience the B2B sessions, exhibitions, conferences, and workshops. And of course, the most magical place, the Kalasha International Film and TV Awards ceremony, where the industry's finest gather to celebrate excellence.
Lifetime Achievement Award goes to
the Kalasha International Film and TV Market Festival and Awards 2024 awaits you from the 27th to the 30th of March at the KICC Nairobi, Kenya, where art meets commerce. Buy your ticket at www.tikiti.co.ke. Be a part of this year's festival.
The lives of two young girls.
My star sign is lucky. Something good will happen. Yani mom na dad wana fight na wewe kazi yako ni zodiac signs.
Raised by secrets.
There's a lot going on at the moment in this house.
It's either balota tumeyo pesa or else.
Is about to be changed forever when their true identity is uncovered.
That girl is not his daughter. That Anetas will prove me right.
I'm really concerned. If they treat her like an outcast, she'll definitely go back to their family.
In the brand new unmissable Zari. Only on Maisha Magic Plus, the home of local. Now available to DSTV Access.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The beauty about this audience is that we are all either filmmakers, aspiring to be filmmakers, in the business of filmmaking. There was a passionate plea I made the first time for those at the back to please move closer to the front. Now, the reason why we need to do this is because that these guys are also taking amazing shots of the audience, and since we want to make good movies, they want a good shot, and this doesn't look nice. So for us to help those videographers there doing a really good job, could you please move closer to the front, please? For aesthetics sake, thank you so much. Oh, upper CVIP, can they come closer to the front? How far do they go? Do they leave only this front row empty? Okay, just this front row. Okay. I'm going to get you up, bro. Unaweza come, by the way. Thank you so much, guys. Please, if you could just move closer to the front. I know the back is usually comfortable. You can sneak out if you need to take a call or something. You can still do that. But for our camera people's sake, we'd really appreciate that indulgence. Thank you. So we're still going to keep in the vein of art meeting commerce. The first one on self-sustaining business. If you missed that particular panel discussion, was really engaging. I think some of the panelists are still around if you want to network on that. The next one, still talking about matters business, is creating and understanding creative entrepreneurship. It's one thing to be a creative. It's another thing to make money out of whatever you're creating. And that's really the discussion that will be happening in this particular panel discussion. Leading this panel, Linda Kosgei. She is a business editor at K24 TV and an accomplished business journalist, renowned in her expertise in financial reporting. She takes those big, complex business ideas and breaks them down for our audience every single day. She's also very passionate about environmental journalism and business reporting. A round of applause for Linda Kosgei as she comes on stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that amazing introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, learners. I see at the farthest end right there. Good afternoon. I can't feel you. I can't feel you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. I'm privileged to be your moderator today. My name is Linda Kosgei, and I'm super excited. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm super excited. Whenever I'm in the midst of artists, this is what I see. A canvas. Yeah? Just picture a canvas that is about to be painted. Yeah? One will paint a canvas with a particular expertise, because here today we have very serious industry players in the creative industry putting that paint. And then we have Kenya Revenue Authority also weighing in with their expertise with a different color. Can you see the canvas now? Can you see the canvas? There's KRA with the red color, and then there's a creative mind like Mike. Perhaps his favorite color is yellow or mustard. And then we have Jim, whose color perhaps should be, let's guess, black, yeah? So I see that as a masterpiece. So allow me to call my masterpiece right here at the front. Let's start with, let's begin with Grace Wandera, who's the Deputy Commissioner, Kenya Revenue Authority. A round of applause for Grace as she makes her way into, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Grace. Where you'll feel comfortable, you're the lady here, you know.
Thank you very much.
Amongst other gentlemen. So welcome, Grace, from Kenya Revenue Authority. She's the Deputy Commissioner. And also we have Jim Shamu, Managing Director, Blue Skies Film. This is one of the biggest production houses in East and Central Africa. Yeah? Welcome, Jim. We are truly honored to have you here today, please. Yes. At the farthest end, right there, Jim. Yes. Thank you. And then finally, we have Mike Mwiti, who is the Creative Director at Genesis Design Factory. Allow me to invite him here. A round of applause for Mike. Welcome, Mike. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for creating time to be with us today. Even Grace, as much as you're seated very close to me, I would not want to begin with you because Kiare, but you're one of the biggest industry players, but welcome on board. Let me begin with Jim, because we want to get a global perspective, since Blue Skies is one of the biggest production houses here in Kenya, in East Africa, and the larger Central Africa. So just give us an overview of the performance of the creative industry, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Hi, everybody. As we've heard, you know, I run Blue Sky Films, and just to let you know that some of the things that we have done is like The Constant Gardener, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, The First Grader, The Lion King. They're all films that we have serviced as a Kenyan film company. What we have in entrepreneurship, for example, with us is that many companies around the world are getting very bored and tired with shooting and showing stuff that is in their own countries. So, you know, international demand for international content is there. And they want to go to other countries and film there. But they will only film in places where they can be serviced in a very competent manner. It's, for example, you know, if you go into a restaurant and you want to eat, you don't expect them to start saying, you know, okay, we don't have milk, did you bring milk, or whatever. You know, the restaurant has to have all the ingredients, all the staff, the good place to eat, place to cook, place to clean, bathrooms, everything. So international film companies want to come and shoot in a place where there is good, competent local crew, where the laws allow them to operate in a smooth and painless manner, where bringing in equipment from international places through customs and security is not going to be a very big issue, where you know, and facilities are there. There are hotels, there is electricity, there are minibuses, you know, there are shops where you can buy almost anything. So Kenya, luckily, is one of those places. In all of Africa, this is going to surprise you, there are only 3 filming centers of international caliber. And they are Cape Town, Cairo, and Nairobi. Lagos is not one of them. Because although they have this huge industry, they don't have silent generators, they don't have grip equipment, they don't have lighting, they don't have internationally trained crew, and so on. And in fact, Hollywood hates to go to Nigeria, and they do it very, very rarely. And us, we have shot 50 international films in the last 20 years. So on that basis, yeah, Kenya and our entrepreneurship and the way that our people have developed themselves to cater for international films has actually made us a viable location, destination for filming.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jim, for giving confidence even to the filmmakers here locally who are wondering whether is Kenya ready for the global market. But just to weigh in on the same, I would like to hear from you, Mike, in terms of the local markets. He has talked about Kenya being ready and opportunities here being so ripe. How do you find it? How do you find the Kenyan landscape, and how do you, as an expert in this field, navigate through this business when it comes to you being an entrepreneur in the creative sector?
So it's said that you don't have to be a doctor to own a hospital. A lot of us value our craft. I want to be better at editing. I want to be a better writer. And a lot of creatives come together and call themselves a company. You need to realize you know the business of film, but you need to know business. And those are two very different things. It took me more than a decade to realize I'm good at what I do, but I'm a very bad businessman. And then now you start from the ground, building up. What's my business model? Do I have a plan that actually allows me to segment my audiences, to understand who I'm talking to? A story is told of this young man who prays to God and says, I want to be the most successful at what I do. But he sells maize at the side of the road. So the truth is, you're the most successful maize seller ever, because you have a picky. But the moment he just tweaks and says, I want to export maize, he has a warehouse, he has trucks, he has a value chain. Maybe the difference between success and your dreams is just a tweak in the business model. So find support or go and learn exactly how to turn your craft into a business. So the local industry is rife with people who love what they do, but they don't know what they're doing.
So the major gaps that you've mentioned, really, there are lack of creation of a business model, or just being able to be in a position where you can tweak the model. Perhaps you have a model, you've stayed with it for the longest time, and then now you get too comfortable. You see the maize vendor is now comfortable because now he can supply maize with a border. Yet there is an entire global market where he can export. Thank you for that. Now let's get to one of the pertinent issues that people really want to know. But let's start with an overview of the contribution of the creative industry into the country's gross domestic product. Does it contribute? And approximately, perhaps you can give us an approximate of how this industry really contributes to this, and how important is this industry in a country?
So thank you, and thank you for having us. Many people don't like that. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
I think that an industry as large to a country's GDP. So it is said that the creative industry is about 5.3% of our GDP. And that's why you see Kerry has an interest.
That's a big number.
That's a big number. It's bigger than fishing. Fishing is probably about 2%. Yes. So you, as creatives, that's what you're bringing to the table. So I think that's an industry where we are keen to give education. Yeah. We are keen to support, and I guess I'll be speaking about the support frameworks that are there in the future. And every country is keen on growing new industry because the traditional industries are truly dying out. I mean, not many of us want to be farmers exactly, yes? So if that is an industry that's dying out, which are the new industries that then will promote and propel a country to achieve its economic significance? And this is one industry that would do that.
Yeah, and how is their reception in terms of them contributing to paying of taxes? Because now we are looking at a situation whereby KRA is trying to put in more, to nab many people into the tax bracket. Are they receptive when it comes to that? Because we have all the industry players here who are really doing an amazing job. Are they contributors? How is their reception when it comes to this? How is your relationship with the creatives in the country?
I think the two things that people say are certain is death and taxes, and we don't like both, yes? Therefore, the relationship can be a little bit strained. But what we tend to do is drive education and drive capacity building. Why are we doing this? Why do we need to pay? If you don't pay, what will happen? Yes? And for the people who've paid in the past, how then are you going to pay for the future?
Yeah.
Just take an example. I keep giving this example because it's a very personal example. So my mother has diabetes. And for the longest time, I used to spend a lot of money on her medication. Then I discovered that the government has a diabetes program funded by the government, which is less than 5,000 shillings per consultation. For me, I want to look at what is going right more than what is going wrong in terms of the expenditure of the taxes, because the reason to believe in why you need to pay taxes is to see the good that the taxes brings. I know right now there are things that may not be exactly going right, but it's good to struggle and see what is going right, because that money is going somewhere. Yes.
Wow. Wow. I feel like this conversation will not end today. I have a lot of questions from the virtue of having interest in film and as well as wanting to know your relationship with them and what are the frameworks that they should really understand when it comes to KRA and film or the creative industry. But since we have the privilege of having Mike here, weigh in on this as well when it comes to contribution to the Kenyan government. Do you feel like the contribution you make into the GDP, does it reflect back to what you're doing? Does the government really support this industry? That's basically what we'd love to know. But remember, Kalasha International has been spearheaded by Film Commission, Kenya Film Commission, which is a state agency, so give credit as well.
I'm picking my words very carefully.
Carefully.
Because I don't speak for an industry.
Yes.
But at the same time, I can speak of my personal experience.
Absolutely.
Now, half the problem is lack of knowledge. I had probably, a lot of money worth of equipment I wanted to bring into the country. And I hesitated for a long time because I'm afraid, what's the tax looking like? Do I have to legislate for double?
Yeah.
And then I realized, wait, just go research. And I had so much that was zero rated because I'm in the film industry. Now, it only took a conversation where I went to Kenya Film Commission to ask them, hey, can you help? And they're looking at me like, okay, yes, we will help. This is the person to talk to. I met them once, but they called me, hey, did you find help? And you don't know you have this help. But beyond that, the lack of knowledge and personal research, my investment, whether it comes back to me or not, one, I take it like I'm building into the industry. And two, so far, I've seen a lot of it is VAT. The right customers, I get to claim it back. So I don't feel there is vilified in what we do correctly.
Yeah.
Lack of understanding or individual experiences that actually sour an industry's perception. I feel KFC can actually be the bridge. Call, ask, and you will get guidance. So don't just walk in blind.
Yes.
Someone who has done it before.
Yeah.
let them guide you to do it.
Thank you for your honest. A round of applause for that. Because he was like, I'm not speaking on behalf of the industry, but I'm speaking on my behalf. This is my experience. But on that note, have you noticed how Kenya Film Commission really helped him? And I saw the CEO was here the first session. And just allow me to give them credit, like round of applause for Kenya Film Commission. And now that we have industry players, you know now that when you want to import certain equipments, there's a procedure. You can actually go to KFC and talk to them, and you can get your equipments without worrying much about, this KRA, this, I almost said that name, but this well, but that's quite interesting. And now let me come to you, Jim, still speaking about its contribution on what this industry really means to a particular nation. You simply mentioned some of the films that you've produced as Blue Skies. So casually, you just said Lion King. You know what Lion Kings really mean to all of us who are growing watching it. It's a big thing, and you're doing an amazing job. And in that, there's someone who's beginning as a producer. They are seeking to make one of the biggest production houses just like you. As an entrepreneur, what are some of the key things that they should identify, especially at the initial stages before they get to your level?
I think that the first thing that you need to do when you want to start any business, but especially the film business, is that you do not compromise on integrity. The only thing that will take you through being a producer, if you're going to do this, I've done this for 30 years now. The only reason why people in Hollywood trust me, people in Germany trust me, people in England trust me, is because of the integrity that we have as a name. The thing that also, I see young people starting out in this business, and some of them are well connected or they know people, and they end up getting a big job, let's say doing an advert. And they do a commercial and they make some money. And the next thing I see is this person driving a brand new Prado. I drive a 30-year-old car, right? Instead of buying the Prado, if you buy a minibus instead, the next job you do, you can charge 10,000 shillings a day for that minibus, instead of paying your 80K a month for your Prado. Every job that you do, every money that you earn, you need to decide, how is this going to help me in my future? Wearing the right clothes, having the right watch, driving the right car is not going to help you. You're much better off turning up in an Uber, and when they say, okay, but how are we going to get put people in that corner? And you can say, no, I have tables, I have chairs, I have pop-up tents that we can use there. I have cool boxes, I'll supply water. These are the things that you need to focus on that are going to save you money, that you can charge money for, that don't cost you anything sitting in the store. And every time you have a job, you can charge for them. Treating people right. Doesn't matter how big you are, how important you are, how much money you are, right? If you cannot lift people, we all come from, generations. And if you sit down with your grandmother, she will tell you, kitu muhimu kushinda hata gani ni kuinua watu wengine ambaye hawana uwezo. That's where you need to be. If you can't lift other people up, if you can't help them to become better at what they are doing, you're not going anywhere. We have seen people who have grown up in this industry. Unfortunately, we have lost people in this industry because of the pressure. Because people needed to show cash because they had jobs. Oh, I'm working on this big production. But that big production, you get a paycheck, most of it demanda kwa deni, yeah. And then the little you have left, you want to show people you had a big job. And so integrity, honesty, hard work. There is an old saying that says that people waiting for opportunity should realize right now that it sometimes comes disguised as hard work. And that really is the key to everything.
Wow, wow. A round of applause for that. Honesty, integrity, and what? What was the third one?
Hard work.
Hard work. Thank you so much for that, Jim. And let me still stick to you because of the global perspective as well. And since you've mentioned some of the key things that someone who's beginning this business should look out for. But now, what are some of the emerging trends in the sector that this particular creatives can tap into?
You know, every large studio in the world today is booked for the next 2 years because the world has developed this huge appetite for series. Netflix wants them, Amazon wants them, you know, Disney wants them, everybody wants series. What I think there is the option for is for young, I always tell young people, you know what, when we did The Constant Gardener, the producer for that was a man called Simon Channing Williams, rest in peace. And Simon was with me on KTN one time, we were giving an interview, and somebody said, how can you help young people who are starting off in this industry? And he said, look, every time I come to Kenya, I don't tell anybody, but the next day at the hotel when I go to reception, there is a pile of scripts. People have dropped off and said, you know, can you look at these? He said, I'm not going to read a script. Because first of all, if I decide to do a movie similar to one of these scripts, somebody's going to sue me and say, that was my idea. Okay? The second thing, he said, nobody has time to read a 90-minute script. Everybody has a 90-minute script. He said, if you are talented, if you think you're talented, make a 12-minute script. Talk to your buddies. They can come and help you make a 12-minute film. If it is any good, if you guys have talent, you can put it into the festival, you know. And if you start winning things, if you have talent, you'll start winning things. If there are things wrong with it, maybe your next 12-minute one will be better. But what will happen is that if you start winning things because of your 12-minute script and 12-minute filming and whatever, then people like me will come looking for you.
Wow, those are amazing tips, yeah? I feel like you owe him a clap. Dude, you owe him a clap because otherwise those are some of the things that I feel like he's consulting. He's normally paid for, you know. You have that feeling as well. Yeah, when you pay for consultancy, those are some of the tips that you can get. Thank you so much for sharing that pertinent info with us. And also, Mike, still weighing in on that. How is the local market in terms of some of the emerging trends that you've identified so far and where you feel like this creative industry is going to move?
So I'll speak on the...
Sorry.
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. So I'll speak on the business side of things.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of people who go into film to be famous. There's a difference between popular and influential. Influence is this man sitting here and telling you how to change. Popular is sitting on stage and everyone's staring at you. So the thing about the film industry in Kenya is that, one, it's expensive. And two, you start in other sessions, you realize there are challenges. So there's various approaches you can take. I don't know them all, but I've seen a few work. Do what you must until you can do what you want. Which is, I have the equipment, I have the knowledge, why don't I do a documentary that will give me enough money to be able to fund my film? I have a lot of friends, I need to sell them a vision and we'll cut something up that makes sense. That's you trying to push yourself forward to the point where momentum carries itself.
Wow, and I feel like that note will take us to the challenges surrounding an entrepreneur who's in the creative industry from your own personal level. What are some of the challenges that you feel like can be addressed? Because we have KFC here, and we also have the Kenya Revenue Authority Deputy Commissioner here.
So there's a lot of people who try to do everything themselves. And then that silo struggles for quality because you can't be everything at a world-class standard. Kenya needs to be able to create specialists, but a path to specialization. Because we are not at the point where I can survive as just a colorist for movies. But the day we are ready, someone needs to be good enough to do that. So collaboration is what allows us to get there. I've seen structures set up. I've learned of structures. One of the things I spoke about earlier is lack of knowledge. Filmmakers don't take advantage of what's available to them. Kenyans have this cultural thing of, I'll make it myself. So even as you grow up at 18, I want to make it on my own.
Yeah.
Has money, buy the cameras, let what he worked for get you there. KFC is our dad. Let's take what they have and start from where they've gotten us. Otherwise, we are repeating the same cycle, and that's why we are stuck.
And to be ready to adopt and to create sustainable projects that can take you to the other level.
And don't let the wall of perception of KRA. There's an evolution that has happened.
Yes, I like
if you
that.
haven't paid attention, then that wall still exists.
Yeah.
The moment I reach out, I'll be audited. The moment I reach out, no. There are ways to get information because I have seen a difference based on just reaching out.
Absolutely. And with that, let me move to Grace. In regards to the frameworks available and the gaps, because you mentioned earlier on that it's an information gap. So what are some of the frameworks and what are some of the highlights that you would like to share today, especially to demystify this air that is in between? If I want to improve in business, I feel like KRA will come for me. But how can you create a level playing field for these people? Because one will feel like Jim is an international producer with the biggest production house, and I'm just a startup. Because the problem always boils down to there is someone who's beginning business with capital, and they will be taxed even without having gone to the other end. And now there's this producer who's making millions already, and we are taxed the same level, you know. So those disparities are some of the things that we'd like to hear from you.
So what Jim is paying is probably not what Mike. You could be a small producer. You could be in the band of, say, below 5 million. And we have a different tax for that. If your income is below 5 million, it's taxed TOT. But in the space Jim is operating in, he has employees, he is making a profit, so the tax regime will follow the size of his business. So it is not true that when you're small, you're taxed the same as a big person. We tax you where you are and according to the operations of your business. And that's why we have a stratified tax administration. Let me also just say, if I had the power, I would be like Mike, free tax for the next year, because you've spoken for us, yes. I don't have the power, though. But as Mike has said, it's good to get information. Now, KFC is such a good partner. In government, when we have a nascent industry like yours, there are lots of frameworks and policies to support this industry. That's why the Kenya Film Commission is there. We don't give exemptions for everyone. The Kenya Film Commission enjoys the ability to have exemptions. And this is in the Act. And that's what he benefited from when he talks about zero duty. Yeah? Other people are paying 30 to 35% duty. But your sector is paying zero on some equipment. Yeah. So that's what we can do for you to grow. Yes, by saying on this particular equipment, we are going to make it zero band because we want this industry to grow. So we have exemptions, what we call tax exemptions, so I don't want to go into the nitty-gritties and the complexity.
And even before you go to the next framework, still on the information gap,
Yes.
also information about when they are traveling abroad, they have to, with their equipments, they also have to declare before they leave. I think that's also
I think that's critical for customs. You have to declare. So I think, as he said, do your homework. What do I need as I'm going out? What do I need as I'm coming in? And all this is on our website. Things to declare, film equipment, what is allowed, at what rate. So I think it's good so that then you don't reach at the customs officer, because when you get to JKIA, you're tired. There's no room for explanation. And there are so many people, and the customs officer is just following the rule book. They don't have a lot of time to educate. But the other thing we are doing is collaborating with the Kenya Film Commission. We want to have capacity building stakeholder sessions so that you know what is permissible, what is not. How can I get an exemption? What is exempt and what is not? Because there's a whole schedule of the VAT Act that says what is exempt, what is not, in terms of the taxation. So I think the opportunity is to increase the dissemination of information, because government on its part has already given that framework and the policy framework around taxation. The other thing is, as industry players, if you feel that the policy framework in terms of the tax regime is not good for you, then every year the budget is read in April. Before April, in September, the government opens the space and says, interact with us, write to us, tell us what is hurting you, which tax is hurting you, write a paper, put a justification, bring it to the National Treasury, that's the Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury, lobby according to your industry, because other people are lobbying. I can tell you manufacturers are lobbying, everyone else has a paper about something, about a tax in their industry. So if you look at the current tax regime and you feel this is too painful for this industry, every year the finance bill is rewritten, every year. So you do have the opportunity to actually interact with us and say, please change this, and justify yourself.
Wow, thank you for that. I love that, don't you? A round of applause for Grace. Grace, thank you. That is so important, because clearly there's always a gap in between. But I understand also KFC offers capacity building when it comes to that info, and in partnership with you guys. So since we have a few minutes remaining.
Maybe just to add that,
all right,
you can get a license from KFC, isn't it, for tax matters. You can actually approach KFC, and once they give you the necessary documentation, then you bring that documentation to us.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So you can be a channel as well. Thank you, Grace, for that. Now, allow me to give you time to also engage my panelists. If you want to know more about KRA, it will be directed to Grace and also to Mike for the local industry here in Kenya, and we can engage as well, Jim. So where can we begin? Where can we begin? Any question? Absolutely. Do we have a mobile mic? A roaming mic? Yes. So begin by introducing yourself briefly, and then tell us where your question is directed to.
Thank you, Linda. Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis. So my question is to Jim and Mike. I like what both have said, that you need to seek information to make your business, your film, your creative part a business. So I was wondering about that. Is there sufficient training opportunities in Kenya? Is that an opportunity? Is that a gap? Is that something that can be motivated from a policy point of view?
Okay.
But thank you for the engagement.
Okay, thank you so much. Can we get another question, a round of 3, and then we can get another round? Yes? Let's go with that. Okay, would you kindly just rephrase it?
How is the training environment for the film industry, particularly in transferring your skill into a business? Is there sufficient capacity building opportunities in Kenya? Locally, yes, this was locally.
I feel like that question should be directed to KFC because it's speaking about capacity building, but on your own perspective, it was
on personal,
from personal capacity.
Yes.
Okay, you can go for that.
From a personal standpoint. Business school, just as a business, to go through their seed program. That taught me a whole year of information that had nothing to do with a camera. At first it felt like torture, but at the end it actually felt like these insights will allow me to hand my business to the next generation. So business and the information that surrounds business is global, universal. Pick someone who knows, or go to class. Set structures in your business so that there's an understanding for business development and then how it affects film, not business development for film. There's experienced heads that you can go and sit and learn from experience in the film industry, but get your business understanding right before now you start biasing it for the business.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Yeah, thank you, Mike. I hope you've gotten that right. But we'll also let Jim weigh in on that, especially now that she spoke about the policies. Are there some policies that can hinder one? Did it hinder you from moving to the next level?
You'll have to stop me if I start overgoing the time.
Absolutely. You have 1 minute.
1 minute's not enough.
But you have 1 minute.
Okay. So basically, for training purposes in film, we have several good institutions like ADMI that teaches you very good filming and such like. We have got all the universities now giving postgraduate courses, whatever. We have a very good competence-based certification curriculum that we had developed a few years ago that I'm hoping is on the way back now. That would be fantastic. We have approached the Film Commission and asked them if there is a possibility of setting up a fund. So when we do international shoots, we can take promising Kenyans who can then come and work with us that then the government would pay for. Because then producers would get free people rather than having to pay for them, which they will refuse, right? On the business side of it, I think, KRA is always vilified for the wrong reasons because 75 to 85% of all new businesses that close down do it because of taxation. Because they do not understand that if you have a profit of 10 million and you don't want to pay tax and you buy a car for 10 million, you have not actually removed yourself from the tax. You have just converted your assets from cash to something else. You still owe the tax on that money. So what I would suggest here is that the KFC and KFCB together should have a system where anybody registers a company that is to do with anything in the creative sector, they should immediately be called in and given a crash course of 1-2 days, about the requirements by law. Because I have gone to universities and given talks about the film business, and I don't think that there was a single panel like this where I said, the first thing you need to do is get a film license, where everybody looked at me and said, for what? It's a requirement, guys. You don't have a film license, you're breaking the law. So, people do need to be brought up to speed on what the legal requirements are, before they can even start running a business.
But you've mentioned that KRA can be a hindrance, but at the same time, it's our own doing. Like if you're a filmmaker, it's your own doing. You have to put structures in place.
Absolutely. I think that as Kenyans, we very much of the tunapenda vitu za bure. Yeah. Now the thing is that we are the same people who are going to be complaining. We don't have enough water, we don't have enough power, our roads are no good, government is not responding, and we are the same people who don't want to pay taxes. So how are they going to afford to do these things? Right? As a company, our rule is always to pay our taxes. We get invited to we used to get invited to their, presidential taxpayers' lunch or breakfast, whatever it used to be.
Did it used to work?
Well, I mean, at least, you saw the government was appreciative of your efforts.
Wow.
Because we do spend, when we hire a crew of 300-400 people. Each one of them is doing pay as you earn, and they're not low-paid people.
Yeah.
So, we have a very good rapport with them, and we always go to them if we have a problem, always. And they always help, by the way.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim, for that info. But now, since we have KFC here and we have the CEO, we have the privilege of having the CEO here, and Grace mentioned the partnership between KFC and KRA in terms of giving information, disseminating the knowledge that there is this and this and this when it comes to payment of taxes, what should be done. Allow me to engage you when a CEO when it comes to capacity building, because we have all these industry players. What are some of the offerings for these entrepreneurs when it comes to capacity buildings and trainings? What are some of the offerings that you can disseminate to them today now that we have them here? Yes, the CEO is right at the front. Thank you. Sorry for ambushing you, though.
No worries. Thank you, Linda, for that question. It's within the mandate of Kenya Film Commission to create awareness, to sensitize the filmmakers on their understanding of what is expected of them as far as film business is concerned. And again, when you talk about KRA, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. So when you pay your taxes, basically you are contributing to your own business and also helping in growing our nation. So my commitment is that we will continue partnering with core government agencies to see to it that the information is out there and that you can be able to get all answers that you are looking for so that you are able to propel your business, but at the same time, comply with the tenets of the law of the land. Yes.
Thank you for that. I would not even ask if there are sessions whereby you engage these industry players, because clearly this is one of the sessions that you get to engage with them. So any other question?
I think as we proceed,
yes,
let it be understood that this is a continuous conversation.
Yes.
Just last week, we engaged the banks and insurance companies because we know they all have a role to play in the entire value chain. And this doesn't start and stop at KRA. We have issues of copyright, issues of intellectual property. We have issues of health, and so on and so forth. So there is a lot more that we have to engage together, collaborate, and see to it that we are actually moving in the same direction.
Absolutely. Especially when it comes to intellectual property. I understand there's another session on AI and also how to register your businesses and why it is so important for you to register businesses. So as the CEO said, this is a continuous conversation that will be running throughout. It's just that this is the time that we have this session, but the conversation continues. So we still have some few minutes to go, so we can handle some few questions. Yes? Any question? Absolutely. We have a question right there. Any other, so that we can pick like 3? Right at the edge. So introduce yourself and tell us whom your question is directed to. Right there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Duncan Maronio. I'm an actor. A question, this is to address KRA. The numbers are out. 2022, the FISA reports spearheaded by KFC, that the contribution of film and broadcast is 0.4% of the GDP. This is 44.1 billion shillings. And I'm sure that must be very exciting for KRA, not just because, we need to pay our taxes, but also want to know, are there initiatives that KRA is taking just so that as the industry grows, as it keeps on growing, because this is very small. The industry is very big, and one particular movie has the ability to employ so many people, and whatever comes in from that industry or that particular movie goes straight into that ecosystem, whether it's the area where you're shooting in, whether it's Nairobi or Kakamega or whichever place. Knowing that this industry has so much more and can bring so much more in terms of GDP, are there specific initiatives that KRA is taking and not just, waiting to grab what we bring? Thank you.
Well, take it up from there, yes.
So thank you. I think you may have missed my intro where I said, KRA, the only way we can support the industry is having policies that are friendly, isn't it? And one of those is exemptions. And I think that Mike mentioned the exemptions. You have exemptions, a lot of exemptions in your industry. That's the best way, because we realize, what do you need most? You need equipment to drive the industry. So that's where we plug in and say, for equipment, we will do X, Y, Z for this particular industry. So that's by far the biggest help we've given this particular industry. I think, again, the other thing that maybe I would like to say is that we want you to comply. We use the word complying because, you see, this regime, the tax regime we are in, is a self-assessment. You tell us, I earned X, we believe you, you pay the money. Yeah? But as Jim said, we will do an audit later, and I guess that's where the pain comes. Yes, that's where the pain now starts coming in, because we tend to, as he said, maybe as a culture, tunapenda vitu za bure. Yes, but now the thing is, our work is to assess, collect the correct amount of tax. The minute we feel or see and also verify that the amount was not correct, then now the law kicks in. And I guess that's where the pain comes in, the kushika, because now it might be that you didn't know. Yes, you started your business, no one told you that, 1, you need a permit, 2, now that you have a PIN and we can see it transacting ourselves, we are asking, when shall you come and declare that you transacted? When we are done with asking, when shall you come, then we come to you. Because then we expected that the whole year you had this opportunity to come and tell us, look, with this PIN, I've been doing X, Y, Z. And these have been my earnings, yes? So I think that it's very critical that first we ensure that we are complying with the law, back to what Jim said, because taxation is about the law. And then we are enforcers of the law, and it's our work to actually enforce and ensure that you've paid the correct amount of tax. But we also drive education. So I think that we've worked with a couple of creative guys. We've even developed tools for various industries. I think for the fashion industry, we always have a lot of sessions with individual industries. If you write, and I'm the one responsible for that education, if you write to us, write to me and say, I have this group of people, they don't know what to do, or maybe I made a mistake in the past, what do I do? Now this is the perfect moment. We are currently running a tax amnesty. If you made a mistake in the past, there's a time we were doing this campaign with Caroline Mutoko, and all she was saying is you're forgiven. If you truly have made, you didn't know, you really didn't know, we have what we call a tax amnesty. You can come to us and we will ask you just to pay the principal. So the funny thing about taxation is we are assuming you know. The minute you don't pay, month 1, penalty, fine. Month 2, penalty, fine. It's just compounding. Yes, because we are assuming you know, and we are assuming that you know that it is your obligation to come to us and tell us. So in this tax amnesty that we are running, you only need to prepay your principal tax, and all your fines and all your penalties are forgiven. Yeah, and it may not come about again soon. So if you've made an error, this is the time to really rectify that error. And if you're trading, we are becoming more and more digital. So right now we have what we call e-teams. Very soon you will not be able to supply someone without giving what we call an e-teams receipt. The minute you supply, we will see that you've supplied. Then now that's almost like now you're saying I am supplying but I am not compliant. Yes? And it will make it very hard for you to trade because the other party will refuse to have your business without an e-Teams receipt. So as Jim said, the best thing to do when you're small, just get all your lawful issues in order because we never forget and we are not allowed to delete in the system. It's not allowed by law. We cannot delete, we cannot remove. So even if I stop working at KRA 10 years later, we'll still hit you with a bill. So just make sure that you comply at the right time. And if you made a mistake, then we have payment plans. We can even do for you a payment schedule and say, okay, we understand you made a mistake. How much do you want to pay every month to rectify this mistake?
But now, when in the process of rectifying, how long is the amnesty going to run for?
So amnesties are issued by the National Treasury, which is the policy making, not really KRA. So this year, the amnesty closes on June 30th. They only have a few months to really make use of that amnesty. And we are taking payment plans. So if you really made an error, you walk in, say, I want a payment plan, I want to declare this, and you will be assisted to get your tax matter in place. And we also have individual account managers. We have an SME desk. Don't think we're only dealing with big people. We have an SME desk. If you feel I am an SME, come to the SME desk and we will help you where you are at your level of business.
Wow, thank you so much, Grace, for that. Hey, you have so much grace. Amnesty. Thank you so much for that. Can we take one round of a question, just one question? Then we'll, oh, absolutely. Right here. Oh, we have two? Okay, let's have him and then we'll come to you. So we're coming to you actually.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor from Kenya Film Classification Board. Mine essentially is not a question, but since you are understanding creative entrepreneurship, I think it's also very important because Mr. Shamun mentioned us. So I think there's a lot of interest. For local filmmakers, I think one of the ways that as a board we are trying to help develop the creative industry is that we removed the requirement for filmmakers to apply through film agents. So if you're a local filmmaker, right now you're enabled, you just registered with us as a local filmmaker, then you'll be able to submit your application. The reason why we did that, we realized that it was quite inhibiting for upcoming filmmakers to go through a film agent. Remember, if you go through a film agent, you have to pay some commission or some funds to them just for you to submit an application to us. So we decided that we're removing that requirement for a film agent. We only limit it to people who want to provide logistics for foreign filmmakers. If you're a local filmmaker, just apply through by yourself. Secondly, I would want to challenge filmmakers. We had the Creative Economy Bill. There was public participation. How many of you participated? How many of you? Today, we have the Affordable Housing Act, popularly known as the Housing Levy. How many of you have lobbied the government that as creatives, you are also considered that as they build houses, you also build cinema theaters? And it's unfortunate that today within Nairobi CBD, all the cinema theaters, other than the one run by KFCB, are closed. So as creatives, it's your time to also lobby government, to do the research, as Mr. Shamun had said, so that some of the things you'll say will also enable government in terms of defining the policy framework. So that's all I want to say, and welcome to KFCB. Asante sana.
Wow, a round of applause for him because he has actually enlightened us. Myself, I wouldn't think of the affordable housing in that level, but that's an eye-opener. I hope it's something that most of the industry players would consider. Thank you so much. So can we have the last question?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Richie Mystery. I'm an upcoming filmmaker. I just had a question for Mike and Jim. Examining the film industry's treatment, especially for emerging talents, in that case, actors, filmmakers, directors, and people in post-production, fostering the inclusivity and diversity in the creative landscape. What, according to your own opinion, what is the films industry's promoting in diversity and inclusivity in terms of supporting emerging young talent? What are, in your opinion, systems in place to help those people in underrepresented backgrounds?
Who would go first? Yes.
And then just from your perspective in entrepreneurship, what is the advice you'd give to young upcoming filmmakers?
Wow, such a nice question. Who do we begin with? Let's begin with you, Mike, and then you will take it up, Jim, and also advice on an upcoming filmmaker. So let's begin, Mike.
Within ownership of film companies and for those who are supporting young talent, inclusivity is one of the things that you can only pick what is available. So sometimes you can go out of your way to be inclusive, but that's not available. So the best thing we can do as a collective is create opportunity to cultivate inclusivity from the ground up. At the very top, meritocracy will actually demonstrate inclusivity. So instead of picking because someone is of a certain persuasion, train inclusively, grow. And then at that point, you can actually have very easy access to diversity or any sort of inclusivity that we're trying to cultivate. I think I'll let Jim answer and then I'll come back to the advice question.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Take it up, Jim.
I think that filmmaking is actually one of the few things out there where inclusivity is automatically built in. I am not educated, okay? If you want a really good example of coming from nowhere, this is it. I come from a poor family. I was born in Isili Section 3. I went to Isili Primary for school, right? So I'm probably worse off than any of you in this room, okay? And I have managed to build the biggest company in Kenya, film-wise, yeah? So the thing is that film is one of the very few things I know where anybody can get a job. You come in at the right time, you're looking for runners, loaders, this, that, whatever. People are just, yeah, we need 5 more people, come. Right? And they're identified very, very quickly. Even a production assistant will come to you and say, Jim, that guy looks like, he's quite switched on. Maybe we should use him on the next one, and so on. So that's already built in. I think that if you want to see examples in the industry, there's lots and lots. And, anytime you call me, I'll give you a list.
Thank you, Jim, for keeping it brief. Can we take that from Mike as well on someone who's just beginning this particular in this particular industry? What advice would you give?
Don't try and succeed in 2 years. Don't try and succeed in 1 year. Success is built over time. I was seated talking to Jim in the back, and he doesn't know he's successful. He's seated thinking, okay, what's the big fuss? Success is always retrospective. So to anyone starting, just do the time. Don't count the success. Let the success find you at your destination.
Wow, that's quite touchy. And also, give it up for him. That's a nice one. Success is retrogressive. You have to. It's for the years that you've done it. I know Jim has been in the industry for what, 20 years?
30.
And over, yeah? 30. Whoa, good job. Good job. And also, let me take your parting shots, Grace.
Sure, what about the advice?
Okay, you can give the advice. Oh, that was not the advice.
No, that wasn't the advice.
It's about to go down. Are you guys listening?
Okay, the advice is this, and this is something that really you guys should look at very carefully, right? You are either at the table or you are on the menu. Okay? So you can either sit, when they call you to come and talk to them, go and talk to them. If you think something should be done differently, go and let them know it. Yeah? The number of times I have gone with the Kenya Film and TV Professionals or the Producer Guild or with KFC or wherever to the government and complained, you know what they have always told us? So we had the public participation. Na nyinyi mulikuwa wapi? Yeah? So if you're going to complain after you've tried something. Don't just sit at home and say, angalia what. It doesn't work like that. Go and participate.
Wow. Thank you, Jim, for that. A better round of applause, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. So let's take your parting shot as well, Grace.
Thank you. So I'm just going to steal a little bit from Jim and say that to be a Kenyan citizen, you need to participate. Don't allow the MPs to read the law for you. This law is about you, and it will affect you. So please read the law, participate, be part of the process. No matter how complex it is, be part of the process. You can join an industry group, and they will be able to navigate that for you. Secondly, as KRA, yes, we do take, because that's our work to take, but we do give. We give in the form of exemptions. We give in the form of deductions. Yes? So as in your industry, I'm reading that you can deduct your capital expenditure. That means when you're paying your taxes, you will calculate and say, my capital expenditure was 100 million, and you deduct it from the tax you're supposed to pay us. Yeah, so you have lots of deductions and lots of exemptions. My call to you, get to know these, get to use them, so that then you can grow your business. And finally, we are open and ready for you to work with us so that truly our slogan that tulipe ushuru tujitegeme becomes a true slogan. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much. A round of applause for Grace as well. I think my take home is KRA doesn't only take, they also give. They give through amnesty and exemptions. So thank you so much. I hope that has been quite insightful, especially when it comes to complicated matters. Having a relationship with KRA is quite a difficult one, yeah? It's quite a difficult one, but have you seen how she has really brought out this conversation to a level of understanding? Yeah? I'm sure there is no other question, unless I don't want to leave anyone out. Okay, there is one that I don't want to leave out. Consider yourself the lucky one. You're going to also give us a parting shot. Okay, to him. I don't want to leave anyone out because I know this conversation is truly important.
My name is Jacob from Uganda. I have a simple, sorry for coming late, question in regard to both Mike and Jim. It's about the line between business and being creative. So at what point do you pull back as a creative to let the business run? Like in a situation like, let's say with Jim, in the last 30 years, at what point did you ensure that the production and the quality was top-notch without having to interfere with the creatives? And how do you trust your people to deliver quality? Same applies for Mike.
The question is directed to?
The creatives.
Okay, to the creatives. A quick one, yeah? I feel like we'll give you 30 seconds. I know Jeff is already here for me. Yes, go first, Mike. 30 seconds, please. Make it brief.
Okay, Jacob. I am having to fight the battle on whether to fire myself as managing director and stay a creative director. Sometimes, as a business owner, I have just robbed my company of a creative director. So there is no line. You get it wrong until you get it right, or you find mentors to actually oversee. So get a board, sit them down, and tell them my biggest struggle is that I can't achieve quality from the outside. They might fire you, and that's what's happening to me. You get fired by your board and you're told, go work in the company, find someone to work on the company. So either sacrifice your place, and I'll also say to KFC, let's make the film business attractive to those who are not in this film business. So if it's financially viable, business owners will throw money and say, hey, I don't know anything about this business, but here's money. I can see it can make money. There's no getting it right, Jacob. You fall until one day you ride the bike.
Wow. Is that satisfactory? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mike, for sharing that. And thank you didn't fire yourself. Jim, what do you think about that? Briefly.
I've actually never been on the creative side. I'm up, I started as a runner, production assistant, coordinator, green man, transport manager, production manager, producer, and then I was MD of the company. And I actually, for the last, I think 3 or 4 years, I've actually not done anything. I have people who do things. And how you do that is that you hand over responsibility. People are coming up, you give them the stuff, they make some mistakes, they get better, you let them do the stuff. I can actually go on holiday now for 2 months and I know that my company is going to run fine. People there are very responsible and they do the thing properly. There is an old saying, again, I know I'm full of these old sayings, right? Where somebody once said, my father told me, listen to me, I have 25 years experience. But he didn't have that. What he had, in fact, was 1 year's experience repeated 25 times. So you don't want to make that mistake in business. You don't want to be micromanaging and then 10 years later you realize that you've been micromanaging again for the last 10 years without actually moving forward at all. These things are hard to do, but you just have to trust people and take your chances.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, my esteemed panelists. I've had an amazing conversation. How do you feel? Empowered, yeah? So with me has been Grace Wandera, who's the Deputy Commissioner for Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA. Thank you so much, Grace. A round of applause for Grace. Thank you so much. That has been quite insightful. Then we have Mike Mwiti, who is the Managing Director.
Is that mine?
Sorry, is it? Yeah. Okay. Then you have Mike Mwiti, who's the Genesis Design Factory Limited Managing Director. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much. We're truly honored to have you. And Jim, thank you so much for creating time to speak to the creatives today. Thank you for the knowledge you've shared, for your over 30 years knowledge that you've shared with us. Thank you so much. Blue Skies Managing Director, thank you so much. And thank you for being part of this conversation today. We truly appreciate your patience and your questions. I hope some of the questions that you had when you're getting in here have been answered. Yeah? So thank you so much. We truly appreciate you and enjoy the rest of the Kalasha Festival. Yeah? Thank you so much. My name is Linda Koske.
Thank you, Linda.
A round of applause for the entire panel. Great insights right there. Before you leave, we have our customary photo. There's a gentleman at the back who's raising his hand. We shall look into that particular camera lens and smile like we're up to date with our tax returns. There you go. Very nice. Are we good? Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Another round of applause for Linda, please. Very skillfully navigating that particular conversation. Thank you so much for your time. This is when we take our lunch break. When we're back after lunch, we are looking into matters AI and filmmaking. Really dicey issue right there. What happens is the machine taking over our space, that and also mental health. No one's discussing the pressure of being a creative and making money from your creation. I can see somebody nodding like, no one is talking about it. Yes, that conversation in the afternoon. So we take half an hour's lunch break, give or take. Should be back at 2 when we start our conversation around artificial intelligence and filmmaking. See you then. Have a great lunch. Bye-bye.
And just to let